Hello gamers, Matt Lemke here with a book review of the Advanced Race Guide for Pathfinder. Something new. We haven't done too many of these. We've done a couple and we've had pretty good feedback on them, so it's something we're probably going to keep doing. Now I will admit that our book review that is done on video is not going to be as in-depth as the written review. Now, real quick, the Advanced Race Guide is about 260 pages long. It has 4 basic areas in it. It has the core races, uncommon races, featured races, uncommon races, and a race builder. Now, basically, well, your core races are the ones that are in your basic book. Then your featured races are really uncommon races that are popular enough that they seem to turn up in every RPG party. For example, orcs are popular, rat folk, drow. And then your uncommon races are races that are playable as player characters, but are pretty much uncommon. And now everything tiers down, so the most abilities in the Advanced Race book go to the core races. Then the second most go to featured races, uncommon races, and then you have the ability to create your own. So we're going to take a look here real quick at one race. Well, here's half-elves. We'll take a look at half-elves because everybody is pretty familiar with half-elves. Now, basically, it gives you an overview of all the race stuff that's in the main book. It gives you a nice little chart. Well, it's not really a chart, but a little inlay of the half-elf racial traits. And then it talks about relationships, alignment, religion. And then we move on to alternate racial rules, which they basically replace other features that the race already has. For example, half-elves in arcane training would replace this trait with the multi-talented racial trait, and this allows them to seek tutoring to help them master magic that's in their blood. And then we have a section on favored class options, and then we have a section on racial archetypes, which is, in this case, it's a bonded witch, which is a subcategory of the witch. And it tells you what you would need to play that class option. And then one more thing that is unique here is that they have, with new racial rules, they have half-elven equipment. Equipment that is specifically geared for the half-elves as a race. And they also have half-elven magical items. Now, basically, the main difference between the core races and the featured races is that the options dwindle down. For example, they have, let's see here. Here's a featured race, and this is the catfolk. Again, it gives you the little chart for everything that they do. And it gives you alternate racial traits, which is a much shorter list than the half-elves had. And then they have a favored class option, which is also shorter. And then they have fewer archetypes, and fewer racial rules. And then as you move into the uncommon races, which are way back here, well, I opened up the changelings, which pretty much everybody's familiar with the changelings. So let's look at something that might not be as familiar to people. Samsarans. They have a whole bunch of new things, and basically what this race is, this is a race that I've never heard of, actually. This race reincarnates itself, so it dies and comes back, and from its past lives, it has memories and things. So it has 1, 2, 3 favorite classes to give you an idea of how many it's dropped off. It has 1 racial archetype. It has only a few sets of rules, and basically we go from, I don't know, 5 or 6 pages of rules for a race to about 2 to give you an idea of the differences. And then we're going to hop back here to the race builder, and what I want to show you more than anything with the race builder is this chart right here. I'm going to zoom in for it so it's pretty easy to see. And we have you have 3 levels and the racial points and their maximums by power level for these 3 categories. And you have a standard, advanced, and monstrous. Standard races are basically going to be your core races or the equivalent of a core race, and they have a power point range or a racial point range of 1 to 10, and they have 3 traits per category. And then your advanced races, which are going to be like your drow, your kitsune, kobolds, they have a range of 11 to 20 with 4 traits per category. And then you have monsters, which is anywhere from 20 up. There's a couple more things that are kind of important to note, like here they have some special subtypes. They created half constructs for you and half undead. And then turn another page. You have a sample archetype for centaurs, which are a monstrous creature with 28 racial points, and they break down how they get you there. And then they do the same thing for the changelings, or no, challenging advanced monster races. I'm sorry. Wow, I don't know how to read. And here's another example. They have the Drider, which are 35 racial points. And then over here, this is not the one. Here we go. Here's a basic race, which is the Null, at 6 racial points to give you an idea of how they got there. Basically, I think this is a much easier system than anything I've ever seen for designing your own races, unless you're designing your own game. But this is basically what the Advanced Race Guide has to offer. If you're looking for more depth for your characters, this is a great way to flesh out the core races and give them some unique variety. Same thing with the featured races. And as for the uncommon races, well, if you're looking for a totally new experience and you've never played them, or you've tried playing them and you feel you botched it, this is a great base. And if you're a DM and you want to build your own races and you don't want to be frustrated like I always have been when I built my races, the racial point system seems to be a really good system. Again, we're going to have a written review of this, and we're going to do a race builder tutorial, which that will actually be a video, and we'll have a written review of that also. Again, this is Matt Lemke with True Gamer Goggles, gamer-goggles.com, and we took a look at Paizo's Advanced Race Guide for Pathfinder.